Either Talon's going to go for a more kind of passive start to this game, or they're going to try and brawl. I think the issue of being passive, though, is Team Aster have proven that they want to brawl, even when they pick these heroes that, in theory, shouldn't fight, right? Like, if you think of the previous games, they're picking heroes that are meant to come online 30, 40 minutes in, yet they're somehow participating in fights at 20 minutes at the latest, which is kind of bonkers. I don't think many other teams have been doing that to such an impressive degree.
Mm-hmm. Look back at the Team Aster previous game as well from the earlier series, especially the one that they won, and yeah, that was that's right. That was around their Luna strategy, and the Mars even thrown in there. So, wondering if that's something that they're potentially going to be leaning towards, and that's also one of those things though where, unless you're just truly very confident, there's some heroes you certainly like that with like a Primal Beast, but something more like a Luna strategy where you showed it earlier on today already, and you won your one game with it. Obviously, Talon's looked at that, they've seen it, so that's kind of fresh in their mind, right? So the chances maybe of Aster going that here is probably a little bit less. Just don't want to give away, or Talon might just be more prepared for it, I suppose, but maybe too much next level thinking.
You've got final pick, right? So there's no rush. You don't need to get out early. You've already got your mid. It could be that they leave the offlaner pick to last. I believe in the last series, we saw them prioritize XSS for a Mars final pick in that game you're talking about. So it might be that we see a similar pattern here. I think Luna kind of works just because you have the clockwork. If it wasn't for that, the Primal Beast gets a BKB, your Luna gets caught, and she's dead. Because the spooky combo that Talon do have is the Primal Beast lockdown plus Invoker Sunstrike. You can very efficiently kill off any target in the game, unless they are some ridiculously godly 3,000 HP Leviathan.
I just trying to think about the Pummel Sunstrike combo. Yeah, that's certainly one that I'm sure we'll see come out throughout this game.
Could you imagine if someone like slightly incorrectly targeted Sunstrike because the Pulverize lifted them elsewhere? Oh man, that would be so painful. Like, we're about to get a clutch kill and then he lifts him over his head out of range of it. Oh, I would never pick Invoker again.
That would have feels bad, man, right there. But no, I don't think that's something you got to worry about, thankfully. Trying to worry about figuring out their fifth ban here. The Silencer coming out on the other side for Team Aster to go with that Visage.
It's actually... It's interesting the Monkey King's getting banned a decent amount here. I think this is just a lot of respect, because we saw this in the Tundra series. Tundra banned it against Aster. It's one of Mone's best heroes. He's phenomenal in this. But if you look at the last chance qualifiers, it performed incredibly badly. 1 win and 6 losses overall. So just peculiar how much prioritization is given with this Monkey King ban. I don't know if it's just Aster specific or if other games and other teams rather are paranoid about it too.
Yeah, there definitely could be a lot of factors in there, and it kind of goes back to his, meta shift, especially going from like an LCQ to now the actual group stages, and all these teams that have been practicing, scrimmaging, playing, warming up while the LCQ is taking place, figuring out their own strategies and what they're comfortable with. So clearly still some respect given to the Monkey King there, one reason or another. But Nyx Assassin makes sense, a good ban, and yeah, immediately with the Shadow Demon then.
There's a lot of feeling of what we just saw in the last game of the Leshrac draft. They now have great saves. Shadow Demon, of course, can save the Leshrac directly. Also, Disruption just cancels Primal Beast ult. Now, I mentioned the fact that with your Purge, you can screw a Primal Beast's ability to even initiate. And on top of that, the Clockwork is always the be-all, end-all if the initial save fails. He can just hookshot in, and that, of course, is going to work against the Primal Beast even when he gets a BKB.
Yeah, I like the save potential, though. Again, we saw even earlier on today.
You need
Shadow Demon Disruption save is pretty good.
Yeah, you just need it with this hero. That's what makes Leshrac look busted whenever he comes into meta, is when he's got this partner in crime. Whether it's something like an Omni Knight or an Undying that can heal him, or a Shadow Demon that can save him. I think the difference with this Leshrac compared to ones of past is just how much better Bloodstone is now. It means that once you have the Bloodstone, you're not crying for Mama to save you anymore, right? You don't need Shadow Demon to come in clutch as much.
Well, Faceless Void, I mean, they got the Chronosphere, they got a lot of things they can throw into it from that Invoker, so they kind of got that synergy going, but it's also a case of where they got their 1-2 positions already picked up, and there's a Snapfire, so even some more synergy coming out as well. But yeah, Faceless Void, we're going to see from Talon.
Yeah. El Clásico. I actually love this. I was always a big fan of Snapfire Void. This was actually one of the best counters to the oppressive Rubik Beastmaster meta. I'm not going to see Beast this game because Talon banned it out. But the logic with this lane comp is that it comes online at level 2, whereas a lot of the offlane combos, when this was most popular, were coming online at level 3. And the other thing to consider here is that with the Primal Beast, they don't have to rely on the Void's Chrono to utilize Invoker and Snapfire. They have individual pick-off with these other two heroes, but then they still have this huge overwhelming team fight presence available to them with the Invoker Sunstrike as well as the Kisses from Snapfire.
There's our boy Morphling. Knew it was a matter of time before he would make his appearance, and sure enough, coming out here from Monet, you would think.
Ooh.
So they got the Morphling at Underlord ban. That's a little more unique.
Yeah, the thing I was just thinking is, like, Talon don't have a final pick. They could make this Primal Beast a free, and they could pick up an Ancient Apparition still. It hasn't been banned. And Aster have picked two heroes that rely heavily on what AA counters, right? With Morphling, it's the Shift, and then with Leshrac, it's the Lifesteal.
I mean, Aster's banning AA. There's no way they don't, right? Like,
but you got this deep, right? Like, you can overlook it at sometimes very easily.
No. Not at TI. You don't do that.
Okay, so you're in the Veno. What? They're like, no, KP do this again. No. I think KP has been doing it a decent amount, so they don't want to deal with the Veno. I think SEA has been quite funky with their Veno usage. I think they're the region rather using it the most at the moment.
10 seconds remaining.
Oh, yeah, I know. What? Fnatic, right? I believe they...
Yeah,
No,
I think there's been like POS 4 Venos, POS 3 Venos. I think there's even been a
some
POS
funky
5
stuff.
Veno.
I've been hearing about that, yeah.
Like, shout out to the Aussie casters. I'll never forget, like, it was in the LCQ. There's like, oh, there's a Venom answer. What's worse than a POS 3 Veno? And I think it was Dan responding, like, it's a POS 4 Veno. That's worse.
Ain't too good. Just like a POS 4 Ember Spirit. That's what we saw.
Hey, I see more credence than that, okay? Don't take that away from my SA boys. We might see it still. There's plenty of SA teams around, but looks like the AA will be banned in the end.
Yeah.
Sensible choice by Aster. If that had gone through, you've just destroyed your entire draft.
There's no way they let that through, yeah. they snap.
But it's like TI, right? We've seen people misclick a gyrocopter before. You never know what's going to happen.
Come on. Too soon.
Is it really too... I mean, I know he feels bad. I think he takes it in good jest now. I hope. Otherwise, I'm
sure
a terrible person.
All right, down to the wire.
Oh, wow. So they don't address the Morphling Leshrac element. I thought maybe we'd see something that has that kind of anti-heal factor, like a Pudge. There's a few heroes in there. Or a Spirit Vessel builder would have been nice, but no, they just straight up go for the Rubik.
I'm trying to think of the spell steal capabilities this game that he's really going to be aiming for. And I mean, Clockwork, I suppose, a little bit put there, but, well, Brewmaster now. For a Team Aster, we saw that earlier today, remember? So XXS going to get his chance to get those primal splits off this game. Interesting finish. I'm with you on the Rubik, though. The Rubik feels a little, I don't know how to feel about it. This the lift itself is potentially pretty good.
Yeah, it doesn't immediately strike you as like, now they've solved issues with this pick, right? It's like, it'll be okay on the lane. It'll make Monet's laning a little bit harder, and that means KP will come out ahead. So maybe that's the thought process, is they're just trying to say, like, what gives our Primal Beast the best opportunity to control mid-game? Giving him a better lane. And what's one of the easiest ways to make sure you can't lose a lane? It's definitely a Rubik.
Yeah. Well, Q going to be playing it. Of course, they're position 4, so we'll see how he's able to perform on it. But again, to go back to XXS on that Brewmaster, some confidence there. And look at what he's up against. I mean, they definitely have ways to keep him locked down to an extent, but if he's able to get that primal split off, we know what the Brewmaster is able to do. But they have heroes from that want to get the primal split off, the mobility of a Morphling, and even Leshrac wants to run around. So the Chronosphere certainly going to be the impactful point for Talon and getting some big ones off from 23 Savage. As you pointed out from the beginning, though, that's certainly the player that they rely on for their success. So they're gonna need that.
The cool thing is, like, if KP gets a good start, they don't need him to come in with clutch chronos for the first 25 minutes. He can just keep farming and occasionally show up, and that doesn't matter because they have a strong 4. even the Rubik round it out, like, while it's not a gotcha pick, it just gives you a stable foundation to go and do things. I think Aster in this game, we've seen they have this propensity towards aggression, even when their lineup is technically out-aggressed. I think what we've got here is a likely bloodbath in the first 20 minutes, and then we're going to be looking and seeing which carry came out ahead. Aster definitely prioritized that. Let's see if they're able to do it. A Morphling game where Morphling looks pretty uncounted. Let's get into game one.
Yeah, he feels like he's setting up to have a pretty good time, and a hero that we've seen a lot of success from. It. Faceless Void, there was, very recently where he was, of course, considered pretty powerful. A couple of patches later, though, toned down a bit and not as expected to perform, but still, the core of what he brings to the table, including that Chronosphere, is in play. I remember that one of his nerfs was right that the reverse time walk itself, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's so good. If they don't have like perma stuns, like insta stuns rather, then you can just quickly scout and get away. In this game, you want to be careful because if you do try to be a little bit aggressive with your reverse time walks, there is a Shadow Demon that could maybe insta catch you with a disruption, and everything else that follows up will kill you. That being said, it's not like a Rubik, right? I think. Yeah, no, like thinking about it more, he probably is the scout for the team. I say that, we can't underrate how absurd Primal Beast is. He'll just scout by... Sorry, I say scout with like, little abbreviations because he'll just charge through the entire enemy team and say they're here. Such an absurd hero.
Well, there's Primal Beast, a lot of screaming back and forth going on. But think of this Rubik some more as I'll hold the thought because actually might have a little bit of an engagement here. Baboka poking in and getting some auto attacks on him here. Disruption down here. That was Faceless Void. But he walks away, and that'll be the end of that. So we have our 2-for-2 rune split. What priority Rubik's going to make? I know, again, for the laning phase, it really makes sense as far as spell steal goes. And maybe the cogs actually aren't too bad actually for him to have and use against the Aster cores.
It's so, remember, we're going to wait for 6, and he has a support, so it's going to be a while. I think the premium steals this game. Hookshot is, of course, always godly if you can get your hands on it. Primal Split as well. Primal Split, I think, is the best single spell that he can get his hands on for maximum impact in this game. But it's difficult to get.
I was going to say that.
Yeah. They either run away or they clap instantly, right? So you shouldn't be getting it in this game.
Yeah, that would be nice, but yeah, the chances should be pretty slim. But we'll see if Q... what he's able to manage to do later on in the game, but again, the laning phase setting up to have a decent time. Bottom lane, not afraid to poke at one another. Yeah, the Brewmaster laying down that level 1 Thunderclap. As soon as Faceless Void gets close. Again, disruption in play for the Shadow Demon, so not necessarily the Centaur Shadow Demon setup, but still, they have a lot of ways to get on top of you and be annoying.
Yeah, and in early levels, that's really frustrating because Time Walk has a long cooldown, so they just want to pressure. This is an easier kill if they can find it. It's just... I say it's easier, it doesn't mean it's easy, though, because the Snapfire... This has been a discussion that's been had many times. Imagine being a ranged hero and being strength. Yeah. Snapfire, ladies and gentlemen. She's so absurdly tanky.
Not too shabby there.
Yeah, has been scaled down a little bit, in fairness, right? Not as absurd as it used to be, but still just a very respectable brawler in the early phase of the game.
Oh yeah, she's not as new of a hero anymore, so of course being toned down slightly.
Yeah, I think she used to have higher starting stats, if I remember correctly. Like, it was just impossible to trade efficiently as a support on a support when this hero first entered a competitive. Very calm start, though. I expected that, considering there's a Rubik on one lane, so it should just negate kill opportunities. Also, this bot lane is just kind of one of damage done and damage offset.
How about our mid lane? Invoker at 13-0. We got Leshrac 10-2. What is it? We didn't even notice that. Oh yeah, Quaswex. Okay, so he's going the Quaswex style. So no expert this game. Talked about the ability for Sunstrike setup, certainly there, but they have a Faceless Void core as well. So I think really just assisting with that idea of just getting that control and being able to throw stuff into the Chronospheres, and Quaswex does that a bit better.
You want to have 2 cores to go do stuff. I'm sure that Talon are fully aware that Aster are a very aggressive team, even when it doesn't look like they should be. So they need to have 2 cores at least available to party, and this is going to allow 23 Savage to farm. Like, they're doing everything they can to enable his game, and this is part of the course. This is the way Talon likes to play. Every time they draft, it's all about how does Savage win the game.
Kind of cutting that creep around. Make sure to get the last hit is Makoto. But you see the urn queued up. Of course, Spirit Vessel likely to be the play. Kind of stressed how important of an item that's going to be against this opposition. Specifically the cores, of course.
Yeah, it's the right way to go about a Spirit Vessel counter as well. If you think about supports when they try to build Spirit Vessel, it takes them so long now that by the time you have it, a Morphling has a Manta. So then you're like, okay, so I just spent 3k for nothing. Didn't do anything anymore.
No, you should have it pretty early on as long as this farm keeps up, and it certainly is a strong start. We got the 4-minute mark coming up, though, and let's see the supports over here. Shadow Demon versus a Snapfire. Snapfire just having a little too much trouble getting to the Ruin. Shadow Demon applying those poisons. Got to respect it, especially if it gets to 5 stacks, so not worth trying to defend it.
Yeah, it's like you don't have good enough stun control to contest runes directly like that. Because if you move in, then the disruption comes out, and then there's a split earth, and you're just dead. And all of a sudden, your mid lane is looking at you going, why have you just made my game 10 times harder?
Yeah, he ain't too happy with you. Brewmaster. He is going to go that Wraith Pact. He has queued up for now, all the way at least. A lot of progress to be made for XXS. And
Yeah,
Faceless Void also giving us some nice inventory insight.
Oh. Oh, well, like, yeah, it's like, okay, guys, you need to expand the quick buy section so you know exactly what my build is. Call it out, analysts. Sound very smart. But, yeah, interesting approach now that Ori's taken. I like this. He got EMP'd, but he spammed his spells first. His goal is to try and keep low mana, so he can't take maximum impact. However, this rotation looks good. Not enough to kill off Ori, however. It will survive. Both of them just bad and bloodied, actually, in this mid lane.
Yeah, I'm very surprised that no one did that. I thought Leshrac for sure was in trouble, but of course, good rotation from the Clockwork, and Leshrac able to pop his regen. I believe there's one at the time. Managed to stay alive, so both teams having their supports come into play. But speaking of supports, rotation in, and Invoker. Disruption, Split Earth is easy at that point, and Makoto.
The lift.
Oh my gosh, he's alive. Yeah, the lift and the tornado turnaround. And now they're going for the turn kill to Baboka. He's fine, or he's low as well. I mean, the brawls continue. Still no kills. That was clutch from Q. He didn't just lift and stop the Clockwork. He stunned the follow-up damage from Ori. That would have killed him off. So great move there to save the day. And all of a sudden, it's a dance in the mid lane because it's all about these runes. Chinese teams especially have prioritized the 6-minute mark to rotate supports. And it looks like Talon is all too aware of this. Over in the end, Rune is getting the south side, is picked up by Shadow Demon. Leshrac kind of upset about that. Doesn't really have much say when his support is busy giving first blood. Yeah, Q manages to get credit for it, but Talon's got to be happy about that one. And Makoto can come back to the mid lane and continue his farm. He's already got the urn as we talked about. Spirit Vessel, ideally going to be well in the works, but both his supports are still hanging around. Snapfire and Rubik. So if they want a position, they want this kill on Leshrac. They're going to go for the dive using an urn charge. Ooh, the blast just out of range. I don't know if it would have been enough damage, but
yeah, Ori can't go in though. Because the cookie comes out, will land right on his face, and he'll end up dead. So Ori has to stay away from this. Cookie on the high ground, and Shadow Demon. Now a little bit out of position. Makoto being chased on too. The final poison stack comes out. Yeah. Great move by Siamese to get the better trade. Yeah, that was, I saw the 5 pop up. I was like, oh no. And then sure enough, he pops it and down goes Invoker. So very well played as he's dying, managing to get the 5th stack off into the Invoker. Part of me is, I don't know about the Invoker coming back in right there, and, you know, feels like could have maybe attempted to dodge that a little more effectively, but underestimated what was coming, and sure enough, dies for it. So, but both teams, a lot of focus around this mid lane. These supports, they've basically left the top and bottom lanes completely. It's because Talon respects what Aster's draft does. It's all about this Leshrac. You know, the rest is kind of supporting cast, minus the Morphling, of course, but he comes in later. So it's all about what does Lesh do and how do we stop him doing it. And that's why Ori's had enough. Great call by Aster to rotate. And a good position to rotate. Void. Oh, the missed time. He chronos, though. He actually commits the chrono just to run away. And they're going to continue to dive. Yeah, that was a very aggressive chrono, especially when no TP's coming in. I understand the idea of being panicked, but without it, they weren't feeling too scared about continuing to go. But yeah, XXS going to come back together. However, the cookie, the stun, and now Savage.
He gets a nice bash proc off the bat. He'll take the onslaught from KP. And there's the pulverize. The disruption. Unfortunately, not going to save him because using on the Faceless Void, and Brewmaster couldn't get away in the trees. So, yeah, big turn right there. Again, that's really unfortunate. The timing of that splitter just a half a second too late.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. They did at least get value in the fact that Chrono's committed, though. Overall, not the worst fight for Aster. It's unfortunate to get that death on the Brew. I think the fact they had to use split as well is annoying, but the Lesh is now more free to make plays because the Chrono threat isn't there. However, the Pulverize threat is, and KP is looking to use it again. Savage is even going to join him in the Dire Ancient area. Oh, farm.
I mean, all right.
What a hero.
Yeah, just takes it and smashes the ground and now just walks away. It says, here, I'll leave one for you, Shadow Demon.
Yeah.
He's got the
just
one
like
right
you
there.
can just imagine him screaming gold, gold, gold as he does it. It's just, it's so trivial, man. Trample, no joke. And I think what you're seeing is the difference between the POS 3 and the POS 4 Primal Beast. Like, I think that's what happened in bot as well. When Siamese C chose to use Disruption on the Void instead of the Primal Beast, it makes sense usually, because usually it's a Primal Beast support rotating. But with so many stats already and Trample being at level 3, this type of build will kill you because of how high KP is in levels.
Yeah, being useful throughout. Now, we haven't talked too much about the Morphling, whose 4,000 net worth is farmed pretty well, but actually Faceless Void higher. And speaking of him, they're going for the play on XXS. Now, this time KP did he overstep his ground, onslaught in initially, but with the Ori TP, he cannot get away. And now 23 Savage. He's got another time walk coming up, so he should be fine, but yeah, a bit too much of a commitment there from the side of Aster as we had 10 minutes. Baboka, only level 4, no hookshot play.
No, but he might be pushed out of lane now because the Leshrac is here. I think you just go top. You get away from this because this tower should fall. Looks like Rubik is coming down, though. They're going to try to defend. Rainbow TPs, and Baboka spots it out early. Ori able to back off for the moment. We'll turn around for the stun. It connects on the Q. Mistakes have been made. Rubik is going to go down. 23 Savage is about to have the Chrono, though. But the Disco Pony doesn't want to commit it. It's going to be thrown out onto the Leshrac. But instant reaction save from the Brewmaster. They drag him down instantaneously. Nice sidestep by Ori. Time warp back. Rejuvenates 23 Savage. And KB will follow through to finish off the Disco Pony.
I mean, that was a great play on both
Savage.
sides, frankly. Yeah, Savage, he's somehow going to be able to survive as he TPs out, but is going to lose another teammate around him as the Snapfire goes down as well. But yeah, that started with the Chronosphere. It actually missed the Storm Bruling as well, and so thus the lift happened and it prevented a lot of the initial damage happening onto the Leshrac. But then a good job by KP especially getting in there and taking out the Leshrac, although Leshrac did a good job of avoiding that is the cookie stun, you know, predicting that it was coming. So yeah, but both teams definitely did a great job there, making some big individual plays, but in the end, I think Talon certainly coming out on top of that one.
Yeah, it almost felt like there was a communication by Aster. It's like, no, don't Cyclone him, bring him down. I'm a Leshrac, he can't Chrono me. It's the worst thing you could possibly do. And as a result, like, you know, maybe they missed out on a kill. Maybe that could have happened, or at least forced Void to run away quicker. But overall, just a decent brawl for Aster. Even though they lose the Leshrac, they eventually get the tower, and Monet gets a new area to farm. In the meantime, top side, they make up for 23 Savage living before. This time, he will be killed off by Ori.
Yeah, big kill. He's working on that Maelstrom, so that'll now be delayed. We saw the idea of him going even Hannah Midas earlier on, but I suppose that's changed. Stick on the Maelstrom, and we'll continue from there.
I think the adaptation that caught Talon off is the fact that Aster rotated Monet. As well as we're going through this thought process, just a pause for the Baboka that was, poor little clockwork goes down. But usually they don't rotate Monet this early, especially when heroes like Morph. But the fact they did secured the kill as well as the tower afterwards. If it wasn't for that, I think Talon would have kept this tower up, and the game looks a lot more cozy.
All right, there, that was Invoker. Pretty big kill, even though maybe just a clockwork. It does get charges back on the urn, which, by the way, now upgrades to a Spirit Vessel. So that's what we're talking about. That Spirit Vessel's online. Morphling has a Yasha, the Manta, still being in the works, but immediately picks up the Spirit Vessel, and Makoto heading to the top lane, looking to find a kill. Right now, it's just the Shadow Demon up here, but clearly Talon wants to be active around this Quaswex Invoker, who instead TP's back to the mid lane, realizing that there's not much of a play to be made at that point.
Now, one issue with the Spirit Vessel is the SD. if he gets the disruption out, he offsets a lot of your Spirit Vessel effectivity, right? So he takes almost a third of its time away, which can be very big. It's going to be required in this game because remember, it's not just the Morphling that gets counted out by Spirit Vessel, the Shrek as well. The Shrek hasn't even completed the Bloodstone yet, a long way off BKB territory.
Clockwork is level 6, has hookshot ready. He's kind of scouting out down here. Unfortunately, by scouting out, he's going to run into a death trap, apparently. In fact, all 3 cores coming in. He's like, wait, why are all 3 cores down here? What's... Okay, well, I'm dead, I guess.
He's like, I trapped them, guys. They're not farming right now. Kill heroes. No.
Never
No,
mind.
you just died, Baboka. We're not doing anything.
Now you see Rubik, he currently has Thunderclap stolen. So, just him managing to take that from the Brewmaster, but keep an eye on that spell steal. As Brewmaster, speaking of him, as we kind of expected, working on that Wraith Pact first, but the Ags queued up for next. Pretty standard for him, it feels like.
Yeah, just means you're more than the split. Like, I know some people are really kind of butthurt by the change, so you don't get double split anymore. But in some ways, this just feels better because now you aren't just the ultimate. Like, in a way you are because it's part of your ultimate permanently there. But it gives you some independence from this one spell that I think Brew was lacking before.
Yeah, that's actually more eloquently said than what the point I was trying to make earlier with the Brewmaster. It's good way to put it, actually. So yeah, with these like Doom in the game and stuff like that, you still feel like you could be useful around that. You're not just all in on that ultimate idea. Certainly.
Speaking of Doom, Doom used to be that way, right? Like Doom used to be one of the most boring heroes in Dota 2. You Doom someone, and yep, we're done. that's your combo. You Doom. It's all about Doom. Then they evolved him with the way he kind of functions around Scorched Earth and the Devours, and especially with Infernal Blade, the different iterations that went through. I'm glad to say that Doom is a bit more than that now. I think he's reverted somewhat to still be around that ultimate a lot. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe there's new builds to be discovered here at TI.
Certainly potential. Not a new build to be discovered is the Bloodstone on Leshrac, and there you go. It is finished on Ori. So yeah, wow, indeed. He's got it. Pretty good time.
He's going Blink next as well. So he's not even thinking BKB, despite the fact he's up against Spirit Vessel. He has no Dispel against this at all. Unless... What if Shadow Demon's your Dispel? There you go.
That's very, very possible. Absolutely. Would not be surprised, in fact.
Yeah, just get the Ag Shard and do you Lesh a favor, at which stage he can play the game as deep as he wants. It's actually a pretty logical way to approach this. Because alternatively, you build a BKB and you're just not playing to your biggest strengths, right? You're jack of all trading your hero.
The downside of that is he requires him to farm that, which, you know, he's going to Eighth Lens right now. This is your main support, so him having a shard very soon isn't necessarily going to be realistic, but eventually...
Beat him with a stick. Tell him to build it.
Start farming. Where's your Philosopher's Stone?
Get to. Where's the Philly? No Philly? GG.
Look at this Brewmaster positioning. Wraith Pact has been finished. Has Primal Split, but Talon's not committing to a defense. And Aster, it's one of those cases like, we'll fight you if you try, but you know what? We'll also take the tower for free. We're good with that. And they're going to 4-player smoke immediately after the tower kill. Does this go to Roshan or do they go top? Let's see.
No, they're hunting. They're going straight top. They see the Primal Beast is playing a little bit forward and they want to punish that. And they have the tools to do so. They can easily initiate with the hook shot. But KP senses that something is not right. The only thing they're going to find up here is a Rubik.
Yep. There's the jump. Easy cog block. And okay, the splitter comes out. I was going to say for a second, Q, does he really get away from this one? No is the answer. Leshrac there to cut him down and secure the kill. And 1,500 gold saved up for Mr. Leshrac now. So that blink, as we talked about, is coming up pretty quickly for him.
At that stage, I mean, you got to think about the follow-up. Like, if you blink him with the Lesh, the clockwork can get in. Swing that Lesh, a bit of a pickle here. Kodo is going to initiate the fight. KP with the follow-up. BKB, but buddy, that ain't how Purge works. He cannot pulverize whatsoever. Ori is just going to walk it off.
No. Yeah, that's, again, I remember earlier today, it's been a long day already, but talking about the Shadow Demon against the Primal Beast, for that reason right there, exactly. That Purge, the fact that the heavy slow And they mentioned the BKB, and as we saw, it just doesn't even matter. You cannot get close enough to pulverize, so certainly considered a pretty decent counter.
You know what the absurd part about it is as well, Breaky, is like usually when you initiate Onslaught, you knock your opponent further away than Pulverizer's range. So then you just can't get them indefinitely. Even if you try to perfectly target your Onslaught, you'll probably knock them out of Pulverize range.
Yeah.
Oh, so hard.
Heaven's Halberd queued up for the Primal Beast. What's that against the Morphling?
Yeah, interesting, actually. I think this is just more, there's no other clear item path in mind, so you might as well just prep for the Morphling threat later. So I think in terms of mid-game presence, the itemization of Invoker is going to cover that. So KP's just trying to tick boxes later on. Aster ticking the appropriate boxes here. 320-minute tier 2 tower being taken. After this, likely to start surging towards the Roche Pit. Roche Pit, the Talon are already in. Are they going to be fast enough for this, though?
They don't really have a fast Roshan killing team, so yeah, I was a little surprised to kind of see them go in there like that. But it usually when that's the case, it's they're trying to bait the other team, right? So it feels like maybe Talon trying to catch somebody off guard, and XXS, perhaps that target. Onslaught, meanwhile, being used in the backlash. Who did he catch? That's the Shadow Demon, it looks like. So XXS, he can't get off that Primal Split. The locked-in is too much to handle. Down goes Shadow Demon. He gets it off at the last second, right as I'm saying that. Meanwhile, Primal Beast, he got the kill on Shadow Demon, but eventually he falls as the BKB wears off. So, yeah, wow, I can't believe Brewmaster actually got that off.
Such a tanky boy. He got the Ogre Axe. I think that really was the big deal breaker there. Just made him a little bit too bulky to get through. Dragon Scale definitely offsets some of the physical damage coming through. But you just see this Void is not ready to fight. He doesn't really contribute anything. He's not able to follow this up. Sure, you can argue there's Chrono, but it's the reset potential. It's the interruption that Aster have with both those supports. And you saw the prioritization KP gave over the Shadow Demon. But even after that, the Shadow Demon's the bane of his existence. He just purges him off. He keeps him stuck on the spot and says, okay, you might get me, but you are the entree, my friend. You're not leaving after this.
Exactly. Leshrac continuing to farm up in the jungle, has those boots of travel, so yeah, that's something else we talked about earlier with the Blink Dagger. Ends up going the bots first, but look at this chance. 23 Savage, he's got a Chronosphere, he's ready. It's a matter of going in. There's the initiation, there's the Q. They go for Lesh with the Chronosphere, but the onslaught stopped from Primal Beast, however, with the kisses, no disruption. He's fine at the time. Being comes out, the Bloodstone, the heals, and the Bloodstone gonna keep him alive for the time, and Pulverize is gonna be stopped immediately, and Leshrac is alive. Faceless Void's picked off, so is a Primal Beast, and it's turn time for Team Aster.
The Dunzo there. Mikoto gets cleaned up as well. Everything is thumbs down for Talon. It's gonna be a team wipe. Ori, Leshrac, Bloodstone, eat your heart out, even with the Spirit Vessel in him. Because it wasn't there straight away when the Pulverize came in, he got enough lifesteal through. Clutch save coming in, by the way, via Aster's Shadow Demon. Siamese C definitely the MVP of that fight, allowing Ori to do what Leshrac does best. And now, as a result of that, something that Talon have been looking for belongs to Aster. They're in the Roche Pit.
And I know we've stressed it so much already, even throughout today, but the Bloodstone impact, that to me was the craziest we've seen it yet. Like, the fact that he actually lived there, just bonkers once again. But he does. That's just what you're up against if you're Talon. Doesn't feel good, but some way, somehow, you're going to have to figure that out figure that one out, that is. But Morphling picks up the Aegis. We also see that he picked up the Aghanim Scepter recently. And this Morphling, we haven't talked a lot about Monet. We're going to start talking about him, though, because he's a beast at this point. He's 5-0-1, and he is massively farmed.
His participation in that fight is key. It's what turns it into a team wipe. If it wasn't for that, they maybe don't have enough follow-up. But, you know, looking back at that, I just got a glance of it. And what happened is I think Leshrac was up to 30-40% before the Spirit Vessel charge came out. That's the difference maker. The Spirit Vessel is a good counter. But now, with a slip-up like that, this is going to be a snowball effect for Aster. Aster are ridiculously strong. They've got the Aegis to play around. Monet is now participating with his team as 5. You just whiffed on the Chrono in regards to it didn't really lead to anything but your deaths. And behind this, Ori's finding even more. And why that's important is what he's getting next. Your Spirit Vessel is soon to be irrelevant. BKB has been queued up for Ori. He already has enough for one component.
Yeah, that certainly does not feel the greatest if you're Talon. So that early Spirit Vessel, don't want to say it was useless, but it does feel like much less effective item and certainly not worth that gold investment and kind of a hindsight type deal, right? Where, imagine if he just goes like the Hand of Midas first and looking at it. But obviously, all hindsight at that point. The point is, they need more progress out of the Invoker, especially as well, because this Faceless Void, he's farming decent, but clearly they were lacking the damage to finish the job onto that Leshrac. And that was Leshrac with the Bloodstone, sure, but this Morphling, you can't kill the Leshrac. The Morphling is not going to be much easier. That's another tower kill. And they're going to go make their way to the bottom. There are no towers down here, but they're just going to take over the Radiant jungle at this point.
There is a prime target in Savage, though. Looks like it's only level 1 hookshot, however. Shame for Baboka. So close down that level 2. But don't worry, follow-up's going to be there from Big Daddy Ori. Able to get the freebie on the Snapfire. And by the way, Baboka's about to have an Axe. That's going to make it even harder for Talon to play around Chrono or these Pulverizers.
That is, by the way, this scan down here, they scanned Faceless Void.
No.
He walked into it. So you see the minimap, everyone turns and starts running here. Unfortunately for them, they're not going to catch him though, because right as the rocket comes out too. So Savage makes it out just barely. And you see that they're still hunting. They think he might be down here, but unable to catch. He's out. That's good for him at least.
This could very easily end up being the quickest game of the day for us. Looking at the way this is now playing out, I think if Talon misuse the Chrono in the next fight, Aster can break the entire base. They've already taken out all the tier 2s, and we've seen how absurdly fat Ori is. And it is a Leshrac with a Morphling. With this level of farm, they can delete every lane very quickly.
They can, yeah. They're smoked up right now, hunting for a kill, but we're already at that point if you're Talon. It's a lot of just sitting in the base, not really feeling safe to even remotely step out of it. I mean, Evoker's hiding in the trees way at the top side of the map, so it's more of an idea of how Talon's already feeling very restricted. Only 25 minutes into this one. Storm brewing, it's hunting.
Take anything it can get, especially considering that Savage, he's just picked up this BKB. If you can force some easy usages with the maximum duration, makes this game a lot harder long term. Speaking of which, there's the overclock. Sees everything everywhere. Is basically just Chinese New Year at this point.
I love it. That's a great ability.
And then he sleeps. It really is kind of like a party, right? You vibe, you have a great time, there's fireworks going off everywhere, and then I really just want to sleep.
It's been a rough time. Well, this Invoker has been just chilling in the trees for quite a while, and he's here somewhat protecting the Faceless Void at this point. He sends out the Forged Spirits, but now there's the cue for Aster, especially with seeing Faceless Void up there. They're going to come up, but both have already TP'd away, and at least they got the distraction, I suppose. That's kind of what they're looking for, especially with this Aegis still online. Only for 30 more seconds, though. But there's not much else they can do.
Yeah, Talon doing a phenomenal job of just delaying now. They're buying themselves a lot of valuable time here. Remember that Aegis is about to expire, so they will look to make a play soon. When they do, Aster are going to be no pushover. They're still 13k ahead. You got the Ags online for the Morphling. He's got enough to buy the crit as well if he wants. Meanwhile, the Shrac's progress has now got the Eternal Shroud. If he was impossible to kill before, good luck now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an issue for Talon. And, I mean, Faceless Void, he's getting some decent farm, but, going the BKB follow-up to the Mjolnir, understandable why certainly he needs it this game, but it still feels like he's really lacking in terms of a big damage output that they just need as a team. I mean, Primal Beast certainly isn't going to provide that heavy burst necessarily, and Invoker, I don't really see. It's just if it all comes together, if they get the lockdown with the Pulverize, etc., the big Chronosphere, sure, they could still eventually kill somebody, but
yeah, but they're reaching a point where, yeah, exactly, and that brings a new issue. Like everything has to connect. So if I don't chrono both the big cores, the other core kills us all, right? It sounds like it's trivializing the matter, but that's where we're at. Like this Void cannot fight either the POS 1 or POS 2 alone. They need everything.
Morphling. He morphed into the Faceless Void, chasing after him up here, though, just north. BKB activation. KP's trying to TP out, and he's not. The crits.
What is this? Like, he almost died, even though he BKBs. Doesn't get the Pulverize off whatsoever. Talon, the one hope of making a play, and they instantly have to run and turn with their tail between their legs.
Kodo? No, he's not making a play.
It's okay. He's going to get out. Yeah, there's no play to be made here. I think he was just delaying, just in case. But Aster, man, they got to be feeling confident about this. It's
Sure.
just all easily coming together. Like Talon, if this happens 2 or 3 more times, outside of every spell being hit perfectly, they have no way of fighting. And speaking of perfect spells to open up with, Focus has been found in the mid lane.
Gets the BKB activated. Split Earth, not going to hit as a result, but he's still taking plenty of physical damage and no chance deafening blast ain't saving him at that point. Q's also locked down with the cock trap, and he's dead as well. And this is that kind of that point kicking in now. Aster is just they're not being stopped. They're just rolling. And that was the Storm Brewing jump initially. I mean, obviously that tornado lasts forever. And that was for the easy setup for the kill.
That's the beautiful thing about that Tornado Panda, is it lasts so long, you have all the time in the world to get in position, and you know that Talon don't want to fight you. Just look at Void top. This was the only way Talon could play this game, is split push. They can't take a direct fight, even with all their spells available. Just shows you how far ahead Aster are. And Aster know it now. They smell blood, and like a shark, they're going to look to pounce. They'll take a lane and probably look to back away, with Roche potentially being up in 30 seconds. But make no mistake, Breaky, if they get their hands on the next Roche, game end state achieved.
We'll take some creeps along the way, but Morphling, I believe that's that full data list now being delivered. You see all the couriers coming out, so some decent upgraded items are to be had, including a Titan Sliver for Leshrac. We'll take that. Maybe. Or somebody else could use it. Maybe the Morphling, I suppose, if he really wants that. But there's that data list.
Yes, sometimes you get a Schmorfling, but I never feel like that's the case with Monet. Always on point with this hero, and just proving it again, top net worth. Looking to follow up with some kills after all this farm, and KP being brought low. BKB to run away, and they commit the chrono, but the damage isn't good enough. He just stands his ground with the Bloodstone. Disruption Save is going to be there, and this looks impossible. 23 Savage is going to be cut down. Talon might as well call it, because Aster are not stopping.
Yeah, it's as expected. You're just too far behind, and the lack of damage very, very much showing. Rubik gets killed right there, but not a lack of damage, but again, even when they got him a little bit lower, it's just the Shadow Demon save came out and it didn't matter. It gave them basically no shot. There's just more kills happening left and right. Invoker, the only one standing right now for the side of Talon, but Aster, they just focus back on the objectives. They're going to go bottom, clear out these racks, and pretty much force a decision out of Talon in terms of what they want to do here. I mean, they have a couple of buybacks. The Faceless has about 30 seconds before he's actually up.
I mean, he has no
They'll just go for a last stand.
He has no relevance in this fight is the problem. Like now they're just praying that Aster go for the Roche, because then they get a chance to breathe, a chance to get their ultimate back off cooldown. And Aster will oblige. However, they won't find a Roche round for this. We're still a minute and 20 seconds away from Roche respawning. So Talon will get one more shot at this, but can't emphasize this enough. If it's not pitch perfect, it's not good enough.
Yeah, luckily for them, it is, not going to be a fast Roche on respawn, so they at least won't have to worry about that going down quickly. But there is a double damage rune in the hands of Morphling, who has that Daedalus. Yikes. You do not want to run into him right now. A couple of right clicks, it feels like he can kill pretty much anyone on this Radiant team. And he's going to be smoked up with 3 of his teammates. Brewmaster already in front.
I don't think that actually Talon can kill any of the cores now. Brewmaster has the Aeon Disc. Morphling, of course, is just a no-go. And Leshrac, like, well, do I need to explain it more than this? Look at this guy go. Like, wait, his team might be behind him. And Ori's like, nope, this is all me, bro. I don't need a team. Let's turn this into a 1v5. Have you met Leshrac recently? This guy can carry a game.
Okay, that smoke split, though, I know this game's definitely one set, but that smoke split getaway was actually pretty sick from Talon right there between a Rubik and Snapfire. So there's that at least. There's a minor victory for Talon.
I can just hear Pyrian Flak screaming Delta split in my head. You're right, it was a beauty. It definitely got them out. But now, with that reset going back to their base, Roche is up. Aster can still play for this instead. No TT. At least not for the full duration. Should run out close to the end. I say that. Actually, he's got half duration and he's a Morphling. Yeah, this is done.
It's dead. This is going to get shredded. Yep, a couple seconds later.
Good lord. You can't even push lanes because this Clockwork build. I thought it was going to be more for the team fight, but it really is just the rocket flares. He's been pushing out all the outer lanes while his team roams together. It's really good.
It is. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it myself, so it's been fun. Fun pickup coming out for Clockwork and Baboka. Certainly making it work. Top tier 2. No, tier 2 is already dead, actually. So, yeah, just the top tier 3 in the racks is all that stands for Talon right now. They're just going to 5-player smoke, and they're pretty much just going to go all in here. You got a Chronosphere. Why not? Try something.
Panda's in the way, though. Monet has the Aegis. They need Shrek, you'd think. I think they need the SD. If they don't open with Siamese C, this is going to be a loss. They might find him in the tree line.
Oh.
Savage is going to reveal him. Siamese C instantly uses disruption, though. They're jumping for the Shrek. BKB up. Cataclysm coming through. Lesh is dead. They finally do it. Siamese C also hit the deck, and 23 Savage trying to stand a fight, but Monet is far too big. He will dominate the follow-up of this fight. Follows on into Q next, who is dead. Buyback forced out of both members of Talon, but they have no answer. This Waffling is unstoppable right now, and he will not stop until he has all 5 heads of Talon.
Yeah, no, he is unstoppable. Now, he's in a kind of a funky position right there, and his teammates are dying around him. Brewmaster manages to somehow escape, but again, Monet, he doesn't care how deep he is. He's even going to be pulverized. He's getting lower. Remember, he has the Aegis, worst case. He's manning up against Makoto. Nice job with the Ghost Walk, though, getting away for the time being, and they will pop the Aegis. So, honestly, this fight is going pretty much as well as it can for Talon right now, considering everything.
Okay, Monet doesn't want to fight. He wants to get out. BKB's on cooldown for 10 seconds. He's going to show respect. What a great turnaround. Talon just picking apart the foundations of Aster's lineup. But Monet, in the second part of this story, might still just take it all on his lonesome. Makoto slowing things down the Tornado EMP, but no way away. Monet will find a big kill onto the Invoker. And with no abilities at their disposal, with no Chrono to play off of, although they answer the Leshrac, they have no answer for the Water Boy.
Yeah. Yeah, Morphling. He unstoppable. I also like the Faceless Void takeover as well has been great, and it's just that added mobility that's brought to the table for him. And also the time dilation pop has been effective for him, but especially with that axe, of course, being the agility benefit there. As a result, I think he's certainly liking that the most. But top tower now going to be the focus with Invoker and Snapfire staying dead. Fortification will be used, but no Chronosphere for another 30 seconds. What do you do?
Exactly. That's the problem, right? RA didn't die long enough. If only he was dead for longer, maybe we could just do it back to back. But now it's going to be mega creeps, and the uphill battle gets even steeper. Talon have to commit. KP goes in with the pulverize. BKB activated already. 23 Savage can't hang around, though. KP is going to be left behind to die. Ripperoonies for the Primal Beast, and looks like mega creeps are inevitable. Aster will take out the last racks.
Yeah. Again, he just morphs into the Faceless Void, and Morphling's like, thank you very much. I'll take that agility and just what you can do. And Leshrac mentioned back into the fight. Chronosphere is ready now, but now it's kind of a funky initiation. Clockwork, in fact, making it extra funky, and he's a little too deep, but not a big deal.
Yeah, appropriate crashing, but he's like, well, everyone got out. That's what's important. Clockwork covered the escape. Doesn't make it out himself, but still just escalating that lead. And it was important they got away like that. They just got a lot more gold after taking the final racks. They want to make sure payday pays out here. And it's close to paying out big time for Brewmaster. Getting very close to that sheep stick being complete. Not sure if he's going to buy out for it. Could just be the game-winning play, though. At that stage, if you open up on the Void, you can kill him before BKB even goes off.
Yeah. Faceless Void, he's just getting any sense of attack speed he can right now. He picks up that Moon Shard. He's going to go Mask of Madness. So that's going to be his answer to just try to be able to assist in as much damage as possible in a timely manner. Give hope and keep hope alive for Talon in game number 1, but that 30,000 net worth deficit suggests that this game is feeling like a near impossible task to come back from, and that's a catch on Snapfire. He's out for 50.
So there's part of your Chrono combo gone. No buyback either.
Well, Faceless.
Some cooldown. Chrono's going to come out, though. Cataclysm follow-up. Monet won't die fast enough. They'll turn around Nori, bringing him low, but BKB gets activated. The turnaround now. 23 Savage is gone, and Talon have lost all hope. They will finally call it a game of survival, but that's not this game, my friend. Try DayZ, because Dota requires a win, one that Aster comfortably take.
Yeah, they certainly do, and again, right as that Bloodstone was activated, the GGs came out. It's just they knew that was just the absolute guarantee that game number 1 is in the books. But yeah, very well played by Aster. Monet kind of just